Part 3. Flora, Fauna, etc. Before we can dive into the political world of SpongeBob Squarepants, we must first identify which of its inhabitants are people and which are corollaries to animals. It is not simple enough to say that every creature in Bikini Bottom is analogous to a human, as anyone who has seen the show could tell you. Gary the Snail, for example, is clearly a cat parallel. So it would be ridiculous to build a cohesive political theory for the show's world building if we rest any part of it upon the actions of Gary, as cats rarely affect a region's geopolitical trajectory. The other species, which we can easily eliminate as being clearly a non-human parallel, is worms, which appear several times throughout the show as the world's equivalent to dogs. These species do not appear to represent the people of Bikini Bottom, and therefore will not be considered in this essay. But where exactly does one draw the line? And beyond the parameters of species, what are the races of Bikini Bottom? Are there races here? These are difficult questions, but I believe that I have found an answer. It is my conclusion that characters which belong to species which are more often thought of as land creatures are the pets of the world of SpongeBob SquarePants. In short, if you feel that you have to add the word sea in front of their species name, then they are analogous to pet animals. In addition to snails and worms, we see pet analogs in seahorses. However, identifying the line between human and animal analogs in general is much harder. A good rule of thumb is to say that vertebrates represent humans. This accounts for Sandy Cheek's ability to interact with the residents just fine without any communication issues. And it also accounts for jellyfish being butterfly analogs and mollusks being birds. However, as you are probably thinking, this interaction would mean that the very title character would not be seen in his own society as a person. This interpretation is either too dark or too incongruous for most to accept. However, instead of attempting to find a unifying flora-fauna theory, I will instead look for which of the three theories, if any, best rationalizes this discrepancy. The baseline citizen of Bikini Bottom is well established. They are bony fishes, also known as osteichthyes. They appear to make up the vast majority of Bikini Bottom's population, yet, crucially, do not appear to hold as much political or economic control. If you think about the major players of SpongeBob SquarePants, you will not think of bony fish. Osteichthyes, thank you. The most successful businessman is a crab. The most popular citizen is a lobster. The gods are mermen, and their superheroes are humans. Bony fish routinely are portrayed as Bikini Bottom's proletariat. They are often nameless or even villains. Think of Bubble Bass in Season 1, Episode 13, or Flats the Flounder in Season 2, Episode 32. And if there were to be an even lower class of citizens within this bony fish proletariat, it would be the anchovies. From the very first episodes, anchovies are portrayed as barely people, feared and hated by high-going society of Bikini Bottom. Their language is also fascinating. It appears to be a dialect partially mutually unintelligible from standard Sea English. Whether this is to be accounted for as a consequence of segregation, or if the anchovies are potentially an outsider force not native to Bikini Bottom, is another question that the canonical three theories must attempt to provide a satisfying answer to.